Managing Audacity versions. Help! I've upgraded to a new version of Audacity, and I want to go back. Well, it's a good thing you're reading this edition of Stuart's Audacity Tips then. I've been receiving an increasing number of questions relating to Audacity versions. It doesn't seem like this trend is going to stop anytime soon, so it's a great time to share this with someone else. Ever since the Audacity team introduced version 3, I've been getting more and more questions about what to do if you don't like the new version you've installed. I'll get to that specific question shortly, but first I want to talk about how to be prepared for that situation before it happens. Back up your Audacity settings. Audacity stores all your settings, including preferences, macros, and keyboard shortcuts, in a set of folders that are contained in the Audacity configuration folder. Before you do anything else, make a copy of that folder to a safe place, like a flash drive. Here's where to find your Audacity configuration folder. Linux users also have a couple of hidden resources in their home directory that should be backed up: .cache/audacity, .local/share/audacity, and .local/state/audacity. Now that you've got the settings backed up, you can safely tinker with various versions of Audacity without fear of screwing up your configuration. If anything goes wrong, you can just copy the folder from that safe place back to where it belongs on your computer, and your familiar settings will be restored. A final note about the configuration folder. Audacity 3.x adds a number of options to the configuration and changes the toolbars that are available. If you're still running Audacity 2, I recommend backing up your configuration folder immediately and saving inside a folder or flash drive where you'll know it's for Audacity 2. If you later update to Audacity 3, back up again, but this time save to a different place where you'll know it's for Audacity 3. This can come in handy if you ever want to go back to Audacity 2 after you've updated to Audacity 3. Go back to an earlier version of Audacity. If you want to go back to an earlier version, first download the version you want to go back to from FossHub. Now, follow these steps. Uninstall whatever version you have and install the earlier version. Your settings should still be intact, as Audacity doesn't get rid of the configuration folder when you uninstall it. But if anything seems out of sorts, you can copy your backed up configuration folder into its normal place on your computer and you'll be back in business. Note, always close Audacity before you copy the configuration folder. When asked if you want to overwrite the existing files, say yes. Installing multiple versions of Audacity. It is possible to install multiple versions of Audacity on your computer, although I don't recommend it for your production machine. If you're making income from your Audacity work, don't mess with Success. I have separate computers that I use for testing, and they have multiple versions of Audacity on them for test purposes only. Warning: if you install multiple versions of Audacity, the default behavior that happens when you double-click on an Audacity file may not be what you want. That's a topic for another day. Just know that you're operating in non-standard territory. Regardless of whether you're on a Mac or Windows, the idea behind installing multiple versions is the same. Each version you install is named so that it doesn't overwrite other versions you have installed. Here's how to do the installation on each type of machine. Installing multiple versions on a Mac. The process to install a second version of Audacity on a Mac is very simple. When given the option to replace or keep both, select both. The version you're installing will have an arbitrary number 2 added to its name in the application folder, like this. I like to change the names of my installed versions of Audacity to reflect their versions, like this. Then you can start whichever version you like by double-clicking on it in the Applications folder. Also, if all your Audacity installations have version numbers in their names, then if you install another version, you won't get the prompt asking if you want to replace or keep both. It will just install as Audacity, and you can then go rename that one to add its version number. Installing multiple versions on Windows. To install a second version of Audacity on Windows, just specify a different folder name during the installation process. I like to change the name to include the version number I'm installing, without the dots, like this. Then you can start whichever version you like by going to that folder and double-clicking the audacity.exe file there. Installing multiple versions on Linux. If you are a Linux user, I'm going to assume you're tech savvy enough to know how to install Audacity to different locations in order to have multiple versions. If I'm wrong, feel free to email me at stuart.gofi@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to get into all the gory details with you. There are enough variations in Linux distros that I don't have enough room to cover them all here. How settings work with multiple versions. One last important tip. Audacity only uses one configuration folder, no matter how many versions you install. So if you make changes to your preferences, macros, or shortcuts in one version, those settings will show up in all versions. This can become a bit annoying as you get to versions of 3.x that remove some of the main toolbar buttons and change the toolbar configurations. Always remember you can back up that configuration folder anytime, so make sure you don't lose important settings. Not subscribed to Stuart's Audacity tips? Join us now. It's free and in your email. Hope this helps. I'm Stuart.